Welcome back. It's been some time. So we got a lot of new things going on. I'm going to fill you in and we're going to do some Bitcoin TA today. But first, let's start with the new things. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to push gaining some subscribers here on Twitter. And there's a reason for that, right? One of the things with me is I have a very demanding job. So if I'm not generating revenue on YouTube and Twitter, it's just very difficult for me to put time into it, right? Because I have to work. So what I'm trying to do is see if we can start generating more value, give you a reason to subscribe. And as you subscribe, if I generate more revenue, I create more content. So that's the goal. That's what we're going to try to push for. And one of the things I've done recently is reached out to a few companies. I have a meeting tomorrow that I'm going to see if where that leads. We'll see how it goes. But I've already lined up one sponsor, great company, and they have a product that I think all of you are going to love. And what we're going to be doing in the very near future is we're going to be doing a review video of their product. And following that, we're going to do a couple of giveaways. And I have some interesting things planned for how we're going to do that. Let's just say subscribing is going to be a good thing in this scenario. But either way, it should be very interesting for you. Now, another thing I'll be doing for subscribers, which I've already started doing, is putting a lot of my trades that I do and normally don't show anybody. So I've never made these things public because A, I don't think they should be on my main Twitter because I don't really want people to start following my trades. I don't always win, right? I've done well over the years and now I'm giving people who do want to have that visibility, the visibility. But I'm also making sure to remind them that as with any other trader, it comes with risk. I stay away from leverage for the most part. Everything that I'm doing is on buy and limit orders, and I might go back to derivatives at some point, but I'm not doing that yet. So keep that in mind if you decide to subscribe. But so far, we've done fairly well. There have been a couple that we've made some good profits on, and there have been a few that right now at this dump that we're kind of waiting out. So we'll see how that goes, and I'll keep telling subscribers where I'm going with some of those assets that I've recently accumulated. We'll also see a change with how we're going to be doing releases. So usually all my videos used to go straight to YouTube. Well, there's not really much of a point in that. A, because the upload process for YouTube and the verification and stuff takes forever. So I'll upload a video, it won't be on for like 2 hours later. So why do that? Instead, what I'm going to do is do a preview here for all followers. My subscribers will get the full video. And then a few days later, sometime within a week, I'm going to start by saying anywhere from 3 to 5 days later, it'll go to YouTube. So whoever's getting it on YouTube, you'll get the full content eventually, but it's just going to be days later. And sometimes TA doesn't really, sometimes you want TA a little bit early. So the incentive is there for people to subscribe and to make this premium content. All right, here we go. Now we got the Bitcoin chart up, and as we got it up, ironically, we're starting to see a bigger drop right now. So just a few moments ago while I was recording, we actually were holding the 28.8K mark at the top of the golden pocket. Now we're dropping below it. So here is the first thing I see, right? The first thing I see is a clear buy area for Bitcoin. It's going to be at right around the 28.2 mark at the 200 exponential moving average on the 4-hour. If we were to lose that, right, if you go below 28K, what I'm looking at is the bottom of the golden pocket, and that's at 26.7. All right, that's a great area to pick up some Bitcoin. It's going to be where I'm targeting. So I'm going to have an order sitting there. I'm going to have an order sitting at 28.2 if I can put one in before before I finish, or like right after I finish recording this video if it doesn't drop there already. And then we also have the 25.7K mark, which is at the bottom of our regression channel. All right, that's a lot for just driving into the TA, but it's just because I saw this literally happening as I'm recording. So what I want to do is I want to zoom out here and show you a couple of things before we move forward with the rest of the TA. All right, we're going to keep this short. We're going to keep it sweet. We're going to keep it informative. So first thing we do is we take a look at this on the long term, right? I'm going to get rid of the regression lines so it makes a little bit more sense to you, and then we'll come back and explain the regression lines too. So this long-term Fibonacci retracement, okay, that's what you're seeing with all the colors here. The Fibonacci retracement starts at where we had the March 2020 drop. It goes all the way up to the top of where we had the cycle top. And this it allows us to calculate an area that's called the golden pocket. It's where we see the most occurrences of the golden ratio. This is a mathematical anomaly, essentially. And what this has proved in longer term studies is that it is a very common reversal area in long time frames. Now, what that means is if you're in a bear market, when your price goes above this level and holds value here, you're likely seeing the shift into a bull cycle, right? It's lower probability that you're going to go above the golden pocket, rise up, and then go back into a bear cycle. That just doesn't happen as frequently. It can happen, but we also have to decide, is that going to happen a year before the next halving? Especially now when we know we're getting closer and closer and closer to the point where the Fed is going to stop raising interest rates. More than likely, they'll be forced to start, reducing or cutting rates once they create a deflationary crisis. Look through some of my threads on Twitter, and you can catch up on a lot of this information as to why I think it's very likely that the Fed will push us into a deflationary crisis, cause a recession, and basically hit some of their targets for inflation, get inflation to drop during this deflationary crisis. And during that time, we'll start to see assets like safe haven assets like Bitcoin and gold start skyrocketing. So take a look at my Twitter threads. You'll see one where I kind of went over this in detail a few weeks ago. Anyways, we are now in this golden pocket zone. So what does that mean? Well, let's zoom in and take a look. Well, basically what it's telling us is that we are right now at the top of the golden pocket. We've already been through trading within it. We've gone up to the top, and we're kind of testing the top of this level here. I've told you for a few months now, when you get to the golden pocket and you break it, getting support on the top is really the key to determine, are you going to keep moving forward in a bullish phase? So this weekly chart now isn't telling us enough, right? So what we got to do is we got to go down to the 4-hour, and we got to take a look at how are we interacting with the golden pocket. Well, we broke into the golden pocket, and it stayed very stable. We confirmed the golden pocket as a trading zone, 100%. We hit tops at 28.8. We hit bottoms at 26.7. These levels I called out a month before we even went into this zone. And somehow it just turned out to be the exact trading zone that we were in. Like, some things are coincidence and some things are just mathematical anomalies or mathematical probability. I don't know the right way to put it, but there's a reason that I was able to predict that we'd be trading in this area. It's because historically the same thing has happened. Now, if we are to assume that the same thing is going to happen on the way up, basically what we're going to be looking for is Bitcoin to get support at the top of this level at 28.8. Right now we're at 28.7, but there's no reason that you can't drop down below it, even touch the bottom and then go right back up, get bought back up and get support there. These things can happen. So without thinking that, hey, this is just, we're going to get support here and we're going to just blast off, instead what I'm thinking is, where can I pick up Bitcoin? Right? That's really the key. So what I'm looking at now are a few key levels. I'm going to give them to you. All right, let's take a look and just make sure that you have these so you can follow them and you can use them as you see fit. We'll go into the daily just so we can pick those. And I'm going to put the regression channels back on. And basically what we're going to look at are the key levels on the regression channel and in the golden pocket with the moving averages on the daily and 4-hour. And that's going to give us a really good range of places that we can place orders. That makes sense. Okay. So first off, where we are right now is at 28.7, right? I know one thing, that this zone in the middle where we've gotten support in the golden pocket, it's kind of been the median area, is going to be a great area to put an order. And that's like right at 28K. Usually it depends if you're bullish or bearish, but for me, I'll probably put one at like 28.1. And then below that, I'll probably go somewhere around the 27K mark until I put one right at 26.7. I think I already have one at 26.7. I'll double check. Okay. Now on the daily chart, if you want to go on the bottom level to where could we go, how low could we go potentially and still pick up a good amount of Bitcoin, that would probably be right around here. This is right at the 23.1K level. Now this is lower probability. So usually at these levels, I don't lock in too much of my money in an order, right? I'm more likely to distribute my money on the way down than to put in a whole bunch here. Usually more at the top and I put less as I go down. So in this scenario, maybe I'll have an order there just to get a value buy, but I don't think I'm putting one there yet. I'll probably stick with the bottom of the regression zone as my bottom order, and that'll be right around 25.6. This is at the daily, okay? The moving averages are pretty decent levels, but you also want to look at where is your volume, right? Where are your volume areas, and where did you really get the most support in prior trading? So now what I'm going to do is switch to the 4-hour, and we're going to see if those levels match up. Do they hold? Well, at the 4-hour, we have our 200 exponential moving average right at 28.1K. That kind of holds with where we're looking if we want to be a little bit above 28 to try to get a buy if it drops there. And then if it drops below it, well, we have the bottom of the golden pocket, which is 26.7. That makes sense in both scenarios. and then our regression channel, which is like right around the 25 to 26K mark. So you can't really go wrong by going anywhere from 25.8 all the way up to 26.2. This entire area is a potential of where we could bottom on the short term if there are more sell orders like we saw and we dump like that. Now, there's a reason I tend to think this may not happen, right? We know that we know one thing interesting, right? What happened here is that there was a massive sell order, and that sell order triggered this drop today. So if we look at this article, it tells us here, and this is from today, right? Bitcoin drops to 29K in sudden sell off, right? It says the slide, which followed a huge market sell order on Binance, flushed millions of dollars worth of futures positions. So let's look at this in detail, right? You see here, Bitcoin slid more than 3% in just 15 minutes of the European morning hours on Wednesday, right? Then we see it says the so-called long squeeze, more than 25 million in Bitcoin futures were liquidated. Longs, or bets on rising prices, made 98% of the positions. I mean, that is pretty blatant. 98% of the positions were longs, right? And then we go here, it says a prominent I don't even know how to say that, but a prominent crypto trader pointed out that there was a huge market sell order of 16,000 Bitcoin, and that sell order triggered a massive long liquidation or a long squeeze. Longs were squeezed out, and who knows, if people were betting on the opposite side of that, if they were shorting at that time, they cleaned up. So this could really be, manipulation at its finest from the big boys to take in a bunch of money. The question is, who would be behind it, right? Could it be Binance counter trading people? Could be. I mean, people suspect that could be happening. We don't know, right? There's no way for us to know. There's not enough transparency for us to know that's not occurring. Could it be just very wealthy people, right? Pooling their money together in some way, making massive trades? Could it be billionaires? Could it be an institution? Most likely it's somewhere in that group, right? There aren't too many normal traders making this kind of a move. So it seems to be that the market is just reeling from this manipulation because too many people were long. Heck, even I was looking at eGold and ADA this morning, and I was looking at the MACD here, looking at the MACD ready to flip, thinking, okay, this is probably, we're going to jump up here. What I didn't expect is a $16,000 market sell order coming in on Binance and flushing everything within 15 minutes, creating a market dump. I mean, eGold is down in the ultra pain support. This is going to be an interesting TA video for eGold when we do it tomorrow. But ADA too, right? Same thing. We looked like we were ready to move up. MACD flipped for the first time in a while. We dropped below the 45 level, and we are now in dumpage. And it looks like it all started from that one order. Anyways, with Bitcoin right now, the long-term key is that we get support on this 28.8K level. Even if we go below and trade in the golden pocket, I'm not worried about that. Heck, even if we drop below to what I would look at as a bottom potentially from here, if we're going to have a massive drop, right, I'm looking at us doing something similar to this, going a little bit below the regression line. Well, what does that mean? That means dumping this way to about here. Well, that works out to almost exactly 25K. So 25K is what I'd be tracking as a bottom. So if we do hit that, don't be too shocked, right? I don't think it's going to be long-term that we're down there if we go down there, but I don't even think it's too likely considering this all originated from a single order. So who knows? I mean, maybe it was coordinated to work out at the same time as Gary Gensler so that, they used the FUD of that to scare the market. Who knows? I don't know how these things work at that high a level. I'm just looking at the charts. But when I look at these charts, it tells me that overall, the situation doesn't change. We're still at the top of the golden pocket. It is a long-term trend reversal level. And I just want to see how we interact here and pick some good targets to buy on the way down. That's pretty much it. If we don't go down, then I'll probably be looking at some upper level targets. And right now I'm not looking at that because we're in the middle of a dump, right? If we start reversing, we'll do another TA video. We'll catch you up on that, on where I think are some of our top targets and when we may hit them. But right now, it's more important that we focus on this and some good buy zones. If you want to know when I'm placing my buy orders, make sure you subscribe on Twitter. $4.99 a month. I'm going to be placing a bunch of information for you there on the trades that I'm making. Some of those are very risky, like I said earlier, so just be careful how you use that information. It's completely up to you. It's just me sharing information. I'm not telling you what to do. And, sometimes I win, sometimes I lose, just like I said before. So I hope the information is enjoyable. I hope you like the TA videos again, and I'll see you soon. Take it easy. Peace.